Hello, welcome to Two Alive's Apple II review. In a moment, we'll take you to Apple Expo West to see the newest Apple II products and to meet the people who produce them. But first, I'd like to thank all of you, our subscribers. It's you who have made Two Alive a reality. We know that the Apple II is still a phenomenal home computer, and it certainly is heartening to find out that so many people agree with us. While the Apple II's heyday may be over, the computer still fulfills the expectations of the thousands of people who use it every day. People are still finding new and interesting things to do with their Apple IIs, even now, 16 years after the machine's original debut. The Apple II and its users keep surprising us with a continuing spirit of innovation and just plain fun. Two Alive is dedicated to celebrating the Apple II. Every article and every issue is written with a kind of enthusiasm that probably reminds you why you bought your Apple II in the first place. It's an enthusiasm that shows no signs of dying out. You'll see it at Apple Expo West, and you'll see it in the new products and upgrades Walker Archer will be demonstrating in our studios later. As long as the enthusiasm stays alive, so will the Apple II. You could spend the rest of your life and a lot of money keeping up with the latest and greatest computer system. Or you could take another look at the computer you already own and discover it all over again. Those who follow the first course will never be satisfied with their machines. Only those who choose a computer for the long run can develop the kind of deep understanding and appreciation for the machine that transforms an ordinary computer from an expensive toy into a worthwhile investment. You're an Apple II user. You've made your investment and you're sticking with it. And so are we. Our commitment to our subscribers sent us across the country to get the footage you're about to see. So without further ado, here's our coverage of Apple Expo West. After the Expo coverage, stay tuned for more product demonstrations here in our studio. Thanks again for supporting Two Alive. Enjoy the show.
The VCR as a printer is an idea that I got kind of excited about a few years ago. When you start thinking about the fact that you can put sound and animations and videos and all that sort of thing on your computer screen, how do you capture that on paper? It's pretty difficult. So it turns out that every Apple II ever made has a little RCA jack in the back that you can plug right into your TV or VCR, and you just hit record and you've got the whole thing captured. And it's a neat way schools can have a report that a kid did, for example, and send it home, or a kid at home could do a report instead of turning it on paper, put it on videotape, or make a little something, sort of imagine print shop on videotape where you could do a little greeting card, except have your voice there, do a little draw a picture or something, and then send it to grandma on a tape. When I started with HyperStudio, and we designed it originally 5 years ago, I thought that the buttons were the big deal, that you could decide whether you wanted to turn left or right first. It actually turns out that, as I saw what people were using it for, that the most exciting part of it is that not everybody is word-oriented, not everybody is visual, not everybody is auditory, but a lot of people are one of those or mixtures of. Being able to turn left or right is one thing. Being able to express yourself in a variety of formats is actually much more exciting. We did HyperStudio specifically for somebody at home where, grandma and a nephew come over and want to play on the computer and do a family tree or record some sounds, or you're in a classroom and you want to do a report on whales and you don't necessarily want to read a 400-page book called Hypermedia Made Easy. The GS has been and remains something very unique about it is that it is video friendly. If you saw the presentation this morning, the entire thing was done on an Apple II GS, and we are able to run the output right into a VCR. We have several products planned for HyperStudio on the GS, and in fact some things that have nothing to do with HyperStudio on the Apple II. That as long as people keep mailing in their registration cards and staying in contact, they'll be finding out fairly soon. Somewhere along the line, I think I one way or another, found myself in a position of being sort of the patron saint of the Apple II, I guess, after St. Woz, of course, but that's really a higher level of deification, I think. But I will say that that the neat thing about the Apple IIs now is that anybody that's looking for basic functionality, the fact that you can buy clip art discs and for $30 get hundreds of clip art images, if you look at what that would cost on any other platform for somebody at home, it's a great deal. For the conference we're doing this summer, we're having a Hyper Studio conference in San Diego. Bring the kids, bring the dog, bring everybody. We went out and bought 20 Apple II GS computers for our lab. Cost us about $550 a piece, and it was a bargain. Anybody looking for a cost-effective way of doing home computing, you can't beat an Apple II.
We're introducing some new products for the Apple II market. We have essentially hard cards, the term essentially originated from the PC marketplace, but we are trying to introduce it into the Apple marketplace by putting a 2.5-inch hard drive with an IDE controller inside of an Apple IIe and Apple II GS. Right here we have an Apple II GS as our demonstration units, and we have a 20 megabyte unit and an 80 megabyte unit. As you notice, we can put more than one hard drive inside of a single GS chassis. We can put up to 3 hard drives in one unit, up to 6 with a modified power supply, so it makes a very easy installation and very cost effective since we're trying to price this below the cost of a current SCSI drive.
Tell us a little bit about A2 and A2 Pro on Genie.
Well, they're the Apple II and Apple II programming roundtables. I run the Apple II programming roundtable, and Dean Esme, who couldn't be here at the show, runs the Apple II roundtable. They're for users of all Apple computers. We have thousands of files in the libraries for download, message boards with hundreds of useful messages and topics. We have real-time conferences, and we have companies supporting things, companies like Econ and Resource Central. And in A2 Pro, we have companies supporting programmers like the Byteworks, Procyon, Morgan Davis Group, SoftDisk, GS Plus Magazine, Lunar Productions, and independents like Twilight 2 modules, and Quality Computers supporting people writing effects for Phantasm. It's all way cool.
And I'm kind of the first assistant sysop around A2 Pro, and I do whatever Matt tells me to do.
But he mostly runs A2 University, our online course where we try to teach people who want to get more out of their Apple II computers how to program things like that. We've been walking around the show talking to people, trying to line up new A2U courses. As some of the ones we've had have come to completion. One about data compression is just winding down. We finished one up on Ultra 4.0, getting the most out of it, that was available for sale here at the show down in one of the courses in book form. It's really fun stuff.
Okay, we have a third sysop.
Yes, I'm the library slave.
Download drone.
Okay, anything else you want to say?
I don't know. I mean, Looney dragged me over here.
I'm the promotions and marketing manager for the Apple II Roundtables.
Great. And are there any marketing or promotions you'd like to do on this videotape?
Marketing or promotions? Well, Genie is the place for Apple II users. If you're online and you're not on Genie, you're nowhere. Genie is the place for everything you want to do with the Apple II. We got all the information, we have roundtables, we have conferences every night at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. You can meet lots of people. We have anyone who is anyone in the Apple II world, all the developers, all the major companies to the Apple II are online on A2.
Other than that, I think we got the best support for the Apple II anywhere of any online service, and a great bunch of guys working best to keep the customers happy. And any special requests, you could just send us a note online, and we'll be glad to help out in any way we can.
This is Apple Expo West. We're here trying to sell you the best software ever written in the history of the universe.
Which is?
SoftDisk GS.
Okay, what are some sample programs you've had on your current issue?
Current issue, we got WordWorks Pro. It's a word processor, very popular. It uses TrueType fonts, colors, headers, footers, all the good things you would expect out of any word processor. Ribbit, kind of a little frog game. You have frogs here. Got to get the frogs over there. Kind of very addicting game, actually. We have MIDI synth music. We have clip art. There's clip sounds. A little bit of variety every month. A little everything different. SoftDisk is for any Apple II, any enhanced Apple II. We do require 128K Apple IIe enhanced. It will run on a GS or not. And SoftDisk GS is for the GS only. You have to have 2 drives or a hard drive. Down the line, we have spell checkers coming up. That should be a real popular one. We have an icon editor that deals with System 6 icons. They change there. Just more of what we've been doing. If you've liked what we've done in the past, I think you'll be very pleased with what's coming up. More games. Got some great games coming up here in the future.
Okay, thanks a lot, Brian. Lee, so does Brian do a good job?
Brian does a very good job. He works about 80 hours a week. Occasionally we have to bust him up a little bit just to get him to work harder. As you can see, the wrist is a little injured. He does pretty good.
Okay, yes, right here we have the Pegasus internal hard drive. It's the only internal SCSI hard drive available for your GS. SCSI has the advantage in that it's expandable. You can add additional devices like a tape backup or a SciQuest unit or something like that, and just daisy chain them all together, all without occupying any additional slots. Slots are limited as they are on the GS, so you don't want to be taking up additional slots. If you were to buy one of the other guys' IDE-based drives, you'd take a slot for the drive, and then if you wanted to add a tape backup or something like that, you'd have to take up another slot for it to plug your SCSI card into. Yeah, the Soundmeister is playing right now, and on screen we have the digital session software, the oscilloscope mode, and we're kind of recording ourselves. We have the microphone in front of the speaker here.
Okay, and you guys sell out of these?
Yeah, the Soundmeister sold out in the second day, so unfortunately anyone who comes to this booth will just have to take your order and send it out to you.
Okay, how's the Soundmeister Pro? Is that shipping yet?
Now the Pro isn't shipping. We're estimating about another month or so before it ships. Now we got the Soundmeister out of the way and we got some production problems solved, so we should be able to get to that really soon.
Okay, and what's the basic difference between the Pro and the regular Soundmeister?
The Pro is oriented to people who want to make really high quality recordings. It can sample much faster than the regular Soundmeister. It can go up to 100 kilohertz per channel. It can also do stereo, which the regular Soundmeister can't do as far as input goes. Output, both cards are virtually identical. So if you just play back music, playing games and so forth, and occasional recording, the Soundmeister is for you. But if you're like a musician and want to make high quality recordings of instruments and want to do so in stereo, then you need the Soundmeister Pro. Okay, we're selling our software products, which we have Universe Master, which is the file management package for hard drives and so forth, and AutoArc, which is the integrated file compression that allows you to squeeze more data out of your hard drives by compressing your files.
My name is Paul Parkhurst, and I'm selling ANSI Term. It's telecommunications software for the 2GS.
Okay, tell us a little bit about it. What makes it different from other communications programs?
Well, mainly it has full-color PC ANSI emulation. It also does VT100 emulation. It has a text editor, full-featured macro language, disk utilities, does just about everything you need.
Okay, so it's basically something like ProTerm except for the 2GS specifically, and these are the graphics you can get from it then.
Yeah, this is just an example of the PC ANSI emulation. It does a variety of things here. It has a full VT100 if people use Unix systems, mainframes, things like that. And here's a little example. And it does the extra wide characters. It does all the special graphical characters. It does the underlining. It does the internal scroll regions. Everything basically exactly how VT100 would look. Plus you can view it in a variety of colors.
Okay, what kind of baud rate can the program keep up with?
It can go as high as 57,600 baud.
We're just here to try to enlist new members and let everybody know how great the Apple II GS is and have some fun too.
So are all your members local to this area?
You know, you got members from all over the country really. People who have joined that can't come to the meeting just to get the newsletter and buy discs through the mail. People from as far as Thailand into Saudi Arabia and Quebec.
And what we've got is the manager, and it's currently running several applications. Oh, we got Finder, Teach, Graphic Writer currently open and running. And if we want to launch a new application, we'll just pop over to Transprog here and launch our telecommunications program called Spectrum that's coming soon. And as you launch an application, you notice that the screen is still all there. We've got Graphic Writer, the Finder window, and Finder is still behind here. And Spectrum is just being added to the group here. There's a lot of things on the drawing board. We work with Bright Software, who's in Switzerland, and very much a good relationship with Brainstorm Software in France. They're our European partners, basically. They're like an extension of Seven Hills, and we are an extension of Brainstorm. And we together have a lot of ideas that we do plan to come out with. Nothing that we can talk about, but some really nice software coming down the pike. the doom and gloom isn't true. I mean, that people, I think, are finally realizing that what Apple says and does doesn't really matter. If the computer is doing what it needs to do for them, that's all that needs to happen. And with things like the manager and graphic writer and these programs that enable you to do all these different things, if it's satisfying the needs, you don't need to do you don't need to go off into a new machine. And as long as the support is there, we're continuing to come out with new software.
We do a lot of refurbishing of Apple equipment, and we also sell new stuff. But we're a good place to get parts and older, hard-to-find items. And we're working on a few other new products for the Apple IIgs. This is an example of don't ever tell an Apple II user it can't be done. And when someone said, no, it can't be done, or it kind of could be done, I said, well, and after looking around and seeing and thinking about this for about 3 years, finally I found the right box, and well, here we are. And I'm even thinking of hoping to get an LCD version working by the summer, and we'll have possibly even a kit for this.
Okay, so this is not just a one-of-a-kind machine, this is sort of a prototype for an actual product you plan to come out with.
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about, and if it looks feasible, I want to try to bring it to market, at least to some extent. I don't know how much or the availability and everything, but there's going to be some way of getting it.
Every summer in Kansas City, this year will be our 5th one. We rent the dorms at a small college called Avila College, and we rent seminar rooms at a facility that's about a quarter-mile away called the National Office Machine Dealers Association. Terrific facility with great chairs and projectors in the ceiling that let us put Apple IIgs screens up on the wall. We sit around for 2 days and talk about everything great there is to know about the Apple IIgs, the Apple IIe, and then we stay up all night and party.
Basically, we're here at the expo showing off a video enhancement card for the Apple IIgs. Plugs into any slot on your GS. Basically gives you like 256 colors, scrolling, better animation ability. More or less takes like the 8 or 9 year old design of the GS and brings the video in kind of up to date. We're not actually shipping yet, but we anticipate probably another 4 to 5 months minimum delay here. We're having to do a redesign, and it's probably going to sell for around $300.
This is Dream Graphics. It's the only 256 and 3200 color paint program for the Apple IIgs. It allows you to display, edit, and create the highest quality pictures for the Apple IIgs. The actual display process is we switch palettes in and out of the video memory for every line. So for every line you have a palette of 16 different colors. Dual Tetris is a 2-player Tetris type game, and it'll go to demo mode in a few seconds here. But the way it works is it's a head-to-head game, or you can play one player versus the computer. And it's basically straight Tetris, except when you make 2 to 4 lines, the lines are passed to the opponent. There's a number of special pieces which allow you to shoot, fill, blow up, inverse the other person's controls, etc.
A new thing, it's a clip art collection called Bearware. Basically, it's a teddy bear for every occasion. Comes from collector software. They sell the Macintosh version, and we've just very recently got the license for the Apple II versions. Well, Contact's GS is basically just a Rolodex on an NDA. It's very handy. It keeps you very organized. Personally, when I was still using the Rolodex, I kept wondering, okay, where did I put the Rolodex last? Basically, it was difficult to keep phone numbers around. So when Contact's GS came by, I snapped it up from Bill Heinemann, and we've been selling it since then.
And we're currently marketing a product called the TrueType Information Manual. And in this manual, we list about 600 different TrueType font faces that are available for the GS and the Macintosh computer. And we offer the entire set of discs to go with the 600 for what we think is an extremely good price, $97.50. And we're currently working on Volume 2, which will be another 600 font faces. And we envision by the end of the year a CD-ROM version with approximately 3,000 TrueType font faces available to the public.
We're showing off our new screensaver called Twilight 2. It has over 40 different modules to keep your screen active all the time. Right now we're looking at Fireworks. That's one of the 40 different modules. For people that have already invested in Signature GS, Twilight 2 will run those modules.
NOG, of course, is a National AppleWorks user group, and Claris, or CWUG, is a natural offshoot of it now that ClarisWorks is here. It's a dynamite organization, and it does a lot for the users. The monthly publications are really well worth the money, and we feel that it's a good investment for any AppleWorks or ClarisWorks user.
So what kind of products do you have?
Okay, heavy on Apple II GS and Apple II. A lot of game programs, include some of the best of them, like Out of This World, that's just recently out, and Shanghai 2 for the GS.
I understand you guys are sort of in the business of rescuing 2GS stuff that's sort of out of print or just languishing there. How'd you get involved in that?
Okay. Well, we saw that where a lot of the companies weren't able to continue, or they chose not to continue with the Apple II support. They still had them in the IBM or maybe the Macintosh products. So we saw that opportunity that people still, there was a market, obviously smaller market for them. So we made some commitments and really were actively pursuing that, and we did do quite a number of titles that way, particularly like the California Dreams, Electronic Arts, Activision, Sierra Online, those products that were good products, but just suddenly were no longer available.
I'm here at the show with some development tools for the 2GS. Got Foundation, which is a resource editor. Name Object, which is a utility that lets you do some embedded things that you can't do with high-level languages for debugging purposes. And Edit 16, we recently brought that back to the market, the best editor for the Apple II GS for developers. Plug and play in Orca.
I found out about all the customers that still want Apple II stuff. There a lot of people came to the show looking for Macintosh stuff, looking for Apple II stuff.
Well, this is the first show I've been to. There's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm in the air here. I'm looking forward just to meeting the customers, putting a face with the name.
Well, it was interesting to see a lot of the different companies that produce the various pieces of software for the Apple and Macintosh out here, talking to some of the developers and the programmers who actually made the software. Matt Deathridge from Apple, some other individuals, really interested. I was really glad to see like Joe Cohn out here from Insider Magazine, Lunatic from A2 Central and Genie. Had a lot of fun with them, and it was a real good show. I was glad to be a part of it.
Quality Computers, America's favorite mail-order retailer of Apple II products, is proud to sponsor Two Alive's Apple II Review. Founded in 1984, Quality Computers rapidly earned a reputation for outstanding service and support. Today, this service and support is part of a tradition that has kept Quality Computers customers coming back for nearly a decade. You can count on our knowledgeable and courteous sales representatives to recommend the products that perfectly suit your needs and your budget. And with our $1 million inventory, you can be sure that what you need is always in stock. Our state-of-the-art order processing system ensures that most orders placed by 3 p.m. ship the same day, and optional Federal Express overnight shipping is surprisingly affordable. In addition to carrying hundreds of products manufactured by all the major Apple II companies, Quality Computers also manufactures its own line of peripherals, including the highly rated Q Drive, Q-RAM memory expansion, and Q modem, and publishes the Beagle Brothers and Q-Labs software labels, including the popular Timeout series, Platinum Paint, Signature, and RepairWorks. For educators, Quality Computers publishes Enhance, a quarterly newsletter featuring articles on fundraising, grant writing, and school effectiveness, plus hands-on tips on networking, cross-platform computing, and multimedia, reviews of the latest educational technology products, and our complete educational catalog. And it's free. Call Quality Computers today at 1-800-777-3642 to experience the Quality Computers difference for yourself.
Once you've added an accelerator, a hard drive, and extra memory to your 2GS, where do you go from there? Here are some great ways to soup up your 2GS with software. Seven Hills has a number of programs which enhance System 6, make it a lot easier to use, and generally a lot faster. The first of them that we'll look at is a program called Transprog 3. Transprog 3 puts a little icon on the top menu bar right here. And what it allows you to do is to launch programs from this menu bar directly. For instance, we can pull down and launch GS Shrink It here just by pulling the bar down, and that way you don't have to go through all of the windows in the Finder. In addition to that, a nice thing that you can do is directly from inside of a program launch another program without having to go back to the Finder, and that makes things much faster. For instance, let's just drop into Teach here, and it's extremely quick because you don't have to go back through the Finder windows don't open back up. Another nice thing that you can do from Transprog 3 is if you need special configurations when you're setting up a menu item. For instance, let's take Deluxe Paint. We can edit that. You can change the slot settings for each individual application. So if you're running two devices, say from slot 2, you can use both slots just by setting up the Transprog configuration and moving between whether you're going to use the your card or the modem port. Another nice program that Seven Hills produces is a program called Kangaroo. One of the problems with a program like this is that when you bring up the Open menu, you get this standard file dialog box. Almost all 2GS programs that use System 6 use this standard file dialog box. The standard file dialog box is a great convenience in System 6. However, in order to find your way around, you have to know the name of folders and the particular file that you want to use, and you'll have to find your way through the maze of file folders that would be on any particular disk. The nice thing about Kangaroo is that every time you pick something from the standard file dialog, it remembers which file it was that you read, and it keeps it in a list. So by simply picking from the Kangaroo icon that shows up here, you can choose from any of the previously selected folders or even any of the previously selected files. All these files are dimmed because none of these happen to be Teach files that we selected before. For instance, I can very quickly pull down this menu and go to the System Setup subdirectory, which I'd accessed previously, or the Music subdirectory. Another nice thing about Kangaroo is that you can directly go to a different volume. Instead of clicking on the Volumes button and then getting a list of the volumes, you can do it in one shot just by picking the volume that you want to see immediately. And one other thing that Kangaroo adds is a set of operating system utilities. For instance, a find file, being able to delete files from inside any application, or renaming particular files, or creating a new folder. But not all applications provide this inside, so you'd have to drop out to the Finder normally to create a new folder to organize your workspace. Kangaroo makes that a lot easier. Another nice program that really helps out a lot on the GS is a program called the Manager. If you're familiar with the Macintosh, Macintosh has had a program called Multi-Finder, which allowed you to run multiple programs at one time. That's exactly what the Manager does, and I'm going to go ahead and launch the Manager with Transprog. This is the Manager icon, which comes up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. If you pull down on that, you get a number of options like hiding the particular application or selecting the application that you want to be running. Right now we only have the Finder running, so let's go put a couple others into memory at the same time. Let's start with GS Shrink It. I'll launch that again from Transprog, and that'll just take a second to come up. Okay, now we're in that. Let's open up an archive. We'll go from Kangaroo and select the Hard 2. and pull in a new Shrink It archive. Okay, now we can switch between the Finder or GS Shrink It. Let's put another program in there as well. Let's go back to the Finder. Let's launch, how about Super Convert? Now you can see that you've got the Super Convert windows on the screen, but in the background you also have the GS Shrink It screen as well. You can switch applications simply by clicking on the window that you want to see. So if you click on the Shrink It window, it comes forward and bang, you're back into Shrink It. And then click on the Super Convert windows and you're right back into Super Convert. Or optionally, you can go into the menu here and select whichever application you want to be in at any given time. You also have the option of hiding Hide Me hides the particular application that you're in, or hide any of the others, just in case the screen gets too complicated. If you pull down on Show all the windows will come back. You can see that you can go into the Finder at any time, and as you can see from the Finder, you can create new folders. Well, let's see, we've got to pull some of these windows out of the way. From the Finder, being able to have the Finder open at any time, you can easily pull open a couple of windows and create new folders at any time. So having the Finder available is much more convenient than having just a desk accessory, because at any time you can get back into the Finder and do anything that you would normally do outside of an application. If you really want to expand System 6, there are a number of enhancement utilities in a program called 6-Pack from Quality Computers. For instance, this clock up here on the right-hand side of the screen is part of the 6-Pack package. The 6-Pack comes with a number of other utilities as well, and they all fit under the Extras menu right inside the Finder. For instance, being able to create a work set is a handy utility. A work set is a related set of files. For instance, here we have a work set already created. It creates a brand new icon on the desktop. And this work set, all that it does is tells the Finder to open up a number of different related folders. So if I click on it, it pulls up all the folders that I wanted to use when I was working with that, whatever particular program I was working with at one time. Another item in the 6-Pack program is a program called Peek at File. What Peek at File does is it allows you to pick any particular program on the disk or file on the disk and take a look at what's inside of it. So here we can see exactly the information inside of that file. In addition to that, we can create CDEV aliases. Normally, to get to a CDEV, you have to pull down the Apple menu, go into the control panel, and select the CDEV that you want. When we create a CDEV alias, we just pick the CDEV that we want to get to quickly, for instance, Direct Connect. We'll create it, and it will automatically come up because we've kind of told the computer that we want to use that. Now we can access Direct Connect straight from the Apple menu. Direct Connect, instead of being a CDA, becomes more like an NDA because you can get to it just by pulling down the Apple menu and at any time get directly into DC Printer and change the printer, the current printer that you're using. That works for any of the CDEVs. Okay, in addition to that, we have a number of other items here. Selecting by icons, by file spec, or being able to save the selections. Another thing you can do is select multiple files based on a particular file spec or a type of icon. For instance, if we type S equals here, all of the files that start with S, all of these folders that start with S as well, get selected. And then you can do whatever you normally would do under the Finder, drag them around or drag them to the trash. There's also a compare file feature. We can select items to compare. For instance, let's compare the Apple Share CDA with the find file. We do a comparison. It brings up the differences in the files. Let's finish that up. In addition to that, we can automatically select and right from this one menu, lock or unlock, hide or unhide the files that you might see up there. Let's lock Merlin 16 and then unlock it right from this menu. The hotkeys function allows you to assign keys on the keypad or other keys on the keyboard to do particular functions. For instance, you can see here we have the keypad 0 set to open the system folder. You can also choose to launch applications or any other number of set items here to do a verify. Let's just say right now that we're going to leave it to open the system folder and close that up, and then when I hit the 0 on the keypad, the system folder automatically opens. So as you can see, 6-Pack adds a lot of power to System 6. Another nice enhancement for your GS is a program called Pointless. When you're working with a word processor on the GS and you want to use large fonts, one of the problems that can happen is that you get these square features on the fonts, generally called jaggies. And jaggies show up as these little bits of the font that just get knocked out here. Once it gets too large, it doesn't look very good. What Pointless will do is use a new technology for fonts called outline fonts. And you can display an outline font at any size and it still looks smooth. So we'll select all of this. And let's choose a new font, which is an outline font. For instance, Charlie Chan. Now, this is a font that is done in Pointless. And you can choose any number of different fonts. Oops. Let's go ahead and choose a different size. And you can see you can make it any weird size that you want. This is 49 points. Takes a little bit of time to think, but there. The font is still completely smooth, no problem. Another nice enhancement for your 2GS is a program called Express. You may not notice anything different about this screen right now, but what actually is happening is in the background, printing is occurring. Express allows printing in the background while you're doing other things. If you pull down Control Panels and click on the Express CDEV, you can see that there are 3 print jobs in the queue currently. And what will happen is the Express will allow printing to be done in the background. When this article is finished, the next one will begin. Express can make your computer more productive because you can be doing things while the printing is occurring in the background. As long as you have enough disk space, enough hard drive space, you can always print a document. You know, even though the Apple IIe has been around for 10 years, a lot of people are unaware of what they can do to expand and enhance it. The very first thing that you should check is to see if your Apple IIe is enhanced or not. The Apple IIe Enhancement Kit adds a new processor and some expanded ROM chips, which all of the software that your IIe uses implement. Some of the newer Apple IIes already have the Enhancement Kit in, so you need to check your machine to see whether you need it or not. The way you do that is to turn on the computer. At the top of the screen, you'll notice that as you power on, you'll get either the word Apple II or the word Apple IIe. If it says Apple II with square brackets, then you need the Apple IIe enhancement kit. If it says Apple IIe with slashes for the 2, then you already have the enhancement kit installed in your IIe and you do not need the enhancement kit. Another great enhancement you can make to your IIe is the 64K 80-column card. This will double the amount of memory in your IIe to 128K and add 80-column capabilities. The memory upgrade and the IIe enhancement kit are separate upgrades. Just because you have one doesn't mean that you have the other. Most modern software will require that you have both. 1 meg memory cards are more affordable than ever. This just happens to be a QRAM 2E. With 1 meg, programs like AppleWorks and Publish-It can load entirely into memory, avoiding time-consuming disk swapping. You can also configure the card as a RAM disk so you can load multiple programs into memory at once. This is a 32K buffer. It holds up to 8 pages of text and fits right inside the printer. So if you're printing up to an 8-page document from AppleWorks, your printer can continue printing while you go on to do whatever you want with the computer. If you're using any graphics applications like the Print Shop or Publish-It or any GSOS application, you'll want the 1 meg version of this card. These cards work great with Express, the 2GS printer spooler software from 7 Hills. You've already read about the Quadriga project in the last issue of 2 Alive. Now we're going to show it to you. Our only regret is that we only have enough time to show you a few of the many features available in this AppleWorks enhancement. Quadriga is the most extensive AppleWorks enhancement ever. They've added many new great features, and I'll just try to show you a few of them. The first ones I'll show you have to do with all of the functions in AppleWorks. First of all, we'll load in a few files. We'll start with the word processor in this address database. Okay, one thing that they've added is you can now have up to 3 desktops available. You can use the tab key to tab through them. This will allow you to add up to 36 files on the desktop at one time, plus it allows you to separate your files by project. So for instance, we'll have that word processor on this desktop. Now let's add a few more files to the next one. And a few more files to this desktop. Okay, now when we tab through, you can see there are different files on each of the desktops that we can access. Another great feature that's been added is multiple clipboards. Each of the sections of AppleWorks, word processing, database, and spreadsheet, each has their own clipboard now. And you can easily copy and paste sections from the database into the word processor, spreadsheet, or whatever. It makes transferring information between formats extremely easy. Best way to show you that is to go into the new clipboard options menu item and show that each of the clipboards is separately represented here. Another thing that's been added is the ability to do file activities and disk activities right from the menu inside of AppleWorks. This allows you to copy, rename, delete files, basically manage files on your diskettes, on your data diskettes or program diskettes, right inside of AppleWorks. That way you don't have to drop out to the Finder and make all your changes and then get back into AppleWorks to do whatever you need to do. In addition to that, the timeout installer is now completely inside of AppleWorks. That makes it much easier to add your favorite AppleWorks enhancements. Many new features have been added to the word processor. One of the most exciting is the ability to have a split screen. That way you can be looking at one part of the word processing document and working on another part. Another great function added to the word processor is a glossary function. This allows you to set up lists in the database that you can easily import into the word processor. For instance, A real good application of this is address lists. We can easily bring up the database list on the right-hand side here, select from one of these people, and it'll automatically insert their address into the document. Quadriga adds a number of new functions to the database. One of them is a glossary. One application for the glossary might be to do something like expand the two-letter abbreviations for the state into the state's full name. This is such a glossary that's been set up. It's in a database format, and the two-letter abbreviations are on the left-hand side, and in the second field you see the full state name abbreviated or spelled out. Now what that allows us to do is to go into another database record, type in maybe HI for Hawaii, and it will fully expand for me right on the screen. Another thing that you can do is to bring up the list of possible things that you can type in and select from it with the arrow keys. For instance, I'll just select CA for California, and that'll fill in. Another feature that's been added to the database is the ability to view a help screen. The help screen is indexed so that you can go to a different part of the help screen depending on which field that you're in. So that way you can have customized help for each field of the database that you design. Quadriga's added quite a few new features to the spreadsheet module as well. Most of these functions have to do with string manipulation. This is something that AppleWorks was never able to do before. Here's a function called alert, which allows you to bring up a box of text on the screen, and we're using this in conjunction with an if function. If I put a 0 in this field here, the alert comes up on the screen. In addition to all these features, Quadriga also offers a macro player capability. What this allows is for programs to be written to customize AppleWorks to do specific tasks. Imagine being able to total a spreadsheet column, address an envelope, or balance a checkbook with a single keystroke. That's what macros can do. With the macro player built into the works, there will be more macros available than ever before. Quadriga is still under development, so we can't show you all of the features here. But when it is released, this is what you'll have to look forward to. As you can see, the Apple II is alive and well. With a little imagination, there's no limit to what you can do with your Apple II.
People ask me, where do I get my ties? And with the exception of this one, which was actually paid for, I have to say it takes a great deal of work. I usually have to comb, usually 5 or 10 Salvation Armies in a weekend to find just the right ambiance for the image that we try and portray.
Well, you're fairly notorious for your ties, so how did that all start anyway?
Well, it actually started right here in this very building. I was coming to a show, and I actually think that there was a requirement for some reason. I was in an Apple booth or something, and I'm not sure they said we had to wear ties, but something was going on and we were supposed to wear ties. I don't exactly remember what the deal was, but I thought, well, I didn't want to be mistaken for an IBM salesman. So I went and found this tie that was like a bright green with scuba divers that were bright yellow on it, and I had a small camcorder battery in my pocket just to keep the whole thing, up to proper power level. And then the next show I came to somewhere, somebody said, well, where's the tie? And so then I wore a tie the next day. Well, then the third day, I wore the same tie that I'd worn a while ago, and they recognized it. And they said, that's the same tie you wore before. And I said, I didn't know I was in the Princess Die You Can Only Wear It Once contest. So I found that I sort of got sucked into having to buy a new tie for every single show. So now my closet has, all my possessions have been shoved out onto the street as tie after tie fill my house.
Is there a theme to your ties? Is there something that ties all the ties together?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is a tie that ties all the ties together. I try and find things, not too surprisingly, that remind me of what could it be? Multimedia. So you'll notice whenever you look at my ties, they always have some wild and crazy thing happening with lots of bright colors and lots of things going on.
All right, now that's a wrap.
Here we are at the Bill Graham Convention Center, located downtown San Francisco, otherwise known as the Apple II Expo, where the Apple II enthusiasts have come today to find... Forget it.
Then insert the disc into drive 1. Oh, wait a minute.
Enthusiasts from around the country have come today to meet the people that support and create products for the... Yeah, what?
Well, we have here a new microphone. It's only $9.98.
It even makes that noise that you always hear on TV. Nice job, Mr. Pilot.
Okay, here's the lunatic in question.
The lunatic in question? The lunatic in any question. What's the answer?
I like meeting the customers firsthand, being able to sit down with them, explain things with the GS in front of you. I don't know. Wait.
Jeff, did the customers help point us into some new product ideas or better insights into better support needs and marketing ideas?
I can't do this yet.
Another Apple Expo West has come to a close here in San Francisco. All around us, things are being broken down and getting ready to be shipped back to these companies' respective homes.
When you're finished, make sure you remove the diskette from the drive.